If you don't know about the Green Party of Canada, even if you are a Canadian, I really don't blame you, because their entire position right now has been kind of usurped by Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh. The people that are supposed to be traditionally at the forefront of politics have kind of adopted their entire platform, seeing everything through the lens of climate change and injustice, and they've just co-opted it for themselves. So they kind of find themselves as a party without a platform, and now they're a party with a very embattled leader. And the way that she's going about this, oh boy, it's not unexpected really, because these are the victimhood people that are out here. And immediately, what would you think, Annamie? Sure, Annamie Paul. She's the current leader of the Green Party. But for the longest time, it used to be Elizabeth May. Okay? And for my American friends, yeah, she's just kind of a botched clone of Jill Stein. It's, for all intents and purposes, the same people. Somebody who runs an unsuccessful campaign year after year, cycle after cycle, never gets elected for herself. And I think that there might be right now 1 or 2 Green Party MPs. It's not a winning platform by any means, but yeah, they feel good about themselves and they waste their own money, so who gives a shit? But the reason that this one's making waves is because what's going on with this fringe party, it's kind of emblematic of what's going on with Canadian federal politics at large. It's like the headline says, Green leader Annamie Paul faces leadership challenge as party falls into conflict and discord. But it's not her fault. It's definitely not her fault. Green Party leader Annamie Paul is facing a challenge to her leadership that could see her forced out this summer, potentially, just as Canadians are set to head to the polls. Still no election been called, no vote of non-confidence, no snap election called by Trudeau, so that's just all speculation at this point, even though everything kind of lines up and looks that way, and we shouldn't be heading to the polls until 2023, I do believe, but that's the wonders of the parliamentary system and having a minority government. Not minority in the colloquial sense, but that's just the wonders of having several worthless political parties. Paul was set to face the first in a 3-step process Tuesday night that could lead to her removal as leader, even as most observers in Ottawa expect a federal election no later than fall. And we all know political pundits are people that we should be trusting, right? Right up there with pollsters. Green Party Federal Council, effectively the organization's board of directors, is expected to consider holding a non-confidence vote on July 15th. Why would they do that? If the council agrees to hold the vote, and if it is successful, then all Green Party members will have to vote on Paul's fate at an annual general meeting, likely in August or September. The leader of Quebec's Green Party, Alex Tyrell, said that Paul should step aside because she has failed to unite the party. Yeah, that was one thing under Elizabeth May. They were definitely united, okay? What they liked, I vehemently disagreed with. But at least they had a unifying voice. I didn't even know Paul was the leader of the party up until this point. Like, she's done nothing to boost the profile of her party. People are kind of, the people who are currently supporting the Liberal Party of Canada, they could be swayed with the Green Party message, okay? People who support the NDP, but they don't really like all of the racist rhetoric that's coming out of the mouth of Jagmeet Singh, but still like the platform, could become Green Party voters, right? Just kind of a hands-off libertarian approach, but it's very, very hippie. It's like your aunt who did too much coke in the 80s and then just wears a poncho at every family gathering. You know the type. But instead, you have all the baggage of the NDP. You have the cult of personality like Justin Trudeau. And you have all the baggage of both of them. So, what are you guys proposing? Doesn't look terribly attractive from afar. I've never seen this level of conflict and discord within our federal Green Party, Tyrell said in an interview. Paul's leadership had been tested in recent weeks by the floor crossing of MP Jenica Atwin, who joined the Liberals, reducing the party seat count from 3 to 2. Oh yeah, there it is. I'm not entirely sure if it's the first time in their history, but normally the Green Party, not very successful. But yeah, just showing you that crossover really does exist. You guys could start pulling some voters away from the Liberal Party. But instead, this internal turmoil is just making the Liberal Party look more attractive, which is creepy and terrifying. Atwin was the party's only MP outside of British Columbia, just sent it into the ocean, and offered hope the party could grow its support and elect more MPs across the country for the reasons that I have demonstrated. Prior to crossing the floor, Atwin called for the Green position on the Israeli-Palestine conflict inadequate and said that Israeli policies constituted an apartheid against Palestinian people. That's something of a talking point that those people like, okay? Green Party, Liberal Party supporters, NDP supporters, they like all that kind of shit. That's why I just, can't really join in with them, because I'm not a Nazi sympathizer. One of Paul's close advisors then wrote a social media post indicating, without naming names because she's stunning and brave, right? The many MPs, including Green MPs, were making anti-Semitic comments. Again, just another hallmark of leftism. A source familiar with the party's internal deliberations said former leader Elizabeth May hasn't let go of the reins of the party, with many members of the federal council taking their direction from May. Now, if that's the case, that's pretty shitty. Why did you step down? Why did you leave a leadership position? Why didn't you guys pick a better leader? Still have an opportunity before the election happens. If you don't like the direction the party's going in, you shouldn't be looking at the past that doesn't work. You should be trying to make inroads with the leadership. The source familiar with the party's the source said May's unwillingness to take direction has been a constant issue since Paul took over as leader, with May not prepared to follow the new leader's direction and to fade into the background the way former leadership contenders do. The source said the push to oust Paul is coming from people loyal to May, and that Paul will unlikely to go quietly. May was the party's leader for 13 years and was the first Green to win a seat in Parliament when she was elected in 2013. History of success. May did not return calls from the National Post on Tuesday, and Paul Manley, the party's other MP, was not available for an interview. May stepped down voluntarily after the 2019 election, after they got their biggest vote count ever, because she was trying to set up a leadership process that led to Paul's selection as a leader. In an interview published Tuesday in the Globe and Mail, May declined to state her position on Paul's leadership. Last week, May and Manley responded separately from Paul about Atwin's departure and blamed Paul's advisor. "We are heartbroken at the loss of our dear colleague, Jenica Atwin, from the caucus," they said in a statement. Unfortunately, the attack against Miss Atwin by the Green Party's leader's chief spokesperson on May 14th created the condition that led to the crisis. Paul was not available Tuesday afternoon, but before news of the non-confidence vote emerged, she spoke with reporters. I was giving you all this background just to set this up. It's like, okay, clearly the Green Party doesn't see her as being a good leader. They still want May or somebody who's more supportive of May's decisions and her ideas to be leading the party, because some feelings got hurt. Again, I received a very strong mandate from our membership just over half a year ago, she said. I would encourage them to respect the will of the members, who were very clear about who wanted to lead them. Yeah, exactly. The people said over like a year ago that they wanted me to lead, and I've done a shitty job at leadership, so we can continue to listen to the people that voted for me to begin with, and we should, listen to them, because you definitely can't have buyer's remorse whatsoever. Ha ha ha, no takebacks. Paul rejected the notion that the Israeli-Palestine issue was the reason for Atwin's departure. That would be, just a little bit petty, I think, considering it only lasted really 11 days. And honestly, you could just wait for a couple more months to pass, and then there's just going to be another flare-up anyway. So Ms. Atwin and I have never had a conversation about Israel and Palestine one-on-one. Okay, well, that's not what she was alleging. She was saying that other MPs, and she wasn't going to name any names, were saying anti-Semitic things. Whatever that means. While she was an MP for our party, I never asked her to rein in her comments, and I never sanctioned her for her comments. Yeah, we know. Atwin walked back her comments on Israel after joining the Liberals, releasing a statement Monday that she sees there is suffering on both sides, and saying she has used the wrong words. I regret my choice of words caused harm to those who are suffering. Sure won't happen again when given the opportunity. Paul said Atwin's retraction of her views showed they were not what caused her to leave the party. I believe this completely manufactured reason for leaving, and I would say that given this statement Miss Atwin made yesterday, it couldn't possibly have been such a closely held belief for her. Ah, yes. So in conjunction to be the leader of the Green Party, she's also a mind reader. She continues to make ridiculous assertions like, oh no, the Liberals just wanted that one because that would give them a political advantage. Well, you guys vote overwhelmingly with the Liberals to begin with, so if you're just going to continue to vote along the exact same lines over and over again, why would you hop over to the Liberal Party that you're just going to be voting with anyways? It's inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. It's just everybody's tired of your leadership and your excuses. That's why this vote of non-confidence is going to be coming. But she has more excuses. Green Party leader calls out Trudeau on being a fake feminist who pushes women out of politics. She's pulling the race card and she's pulling the woman card and blaming Justin Trudeau for her failings as a leader. Like, okay, as many shots and as much as I dislike Justin Trudeau, I don't think he's to blame for this one. I don't really see any sort of logical reason why you'd try to blame him. But let's see, maybe she makes some good points. I don't know. Now, Paul held a press conference on Wednesday evening after surviving a coordinated attempt by some of her party to kick her out of her position as leader. Yes, it sounded an awful lot like An emergency meeting held by the party's governing body decided to not go forward with a vote that would have decided whether the party should go forward with her removal. Paul, who was Canada's first black and Jewish woman to lead a federal party, who cares, went on to detail the amount of racism and sexism against her from an unelected Green councillor. There it is. It's not her failings as a leader to unite the party. No. It's gotta be my racism and my sexism. Before setting her sights on Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Oh my god. Like I said, if you're gonna bash Trudeau, you have a sympathetic ear, but the way that you poison the well to begin with, I don't know. To the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, I say to you today, you are no ally and you are no feminist. Ooh, burn. Your deeds and your words over the past weeks prove that definitely a real ally and feminist doesn't need their commitment to those principles whenever they come up against their personal ambition. To the people of Canada, I ask you directly, oh, that's me. How many times will you allow Justin Trudeau to get away with pushing strong, competent, capable women out of politics when they're seeking to serve? Oh, I won't stand for that whatsoever, except you don't really meet that criteria. And how much longer will we allow him to do it with impunity? A little accountability for Justin Trudeau would go a long ways, and I'd be on your side with that one. But you kind of fail the test of your two-part question there. So again, just work on your messaging, and we might have something to agree with. Today I am here to say that I am one woman that he will not push out of politics, and he can't believe it. Ooh. But that's what happens when you're kind of an idiot. You try to drag up old wounds like the few women who left the party over the SNC-Lavalin scandal. It happened a couple years ago at this point, which, yeah, water under the bridge at this point. There's been more scandals come up and Trudeau's had to shuck and jive out of answering for his crimes there. Thankfully, he was already in the perfect makeup for doing such a performance. Maybe that's what Paul was taking umbrage with. But to be honest, it's a fringe party with a fringe conflict. And in the grand scheme of things, they're probably just going to end up losing both of their seats off the back of this. But it is BC after all, and they're normally just high when they go to vote anyway, so whatever. Looks like this bitch skates on her terrible track record of being a leader, but what can you expect, really? It's Canadian federal politics. The more corrupt you are, the more successful you become. You can even lead a party one day if you have more skeletons in your closet than a Kennedy family summer cottage. But on that note, we're wrapped up for the day, guys. Keep it going and do something fun and enjoyable tomorrow. I'm sure something will come up. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. We'll catch y'all later.